Okay, so we're here with British Sailing Team 470 sailors Sophie Weguelin and Eilidh McIntyre. Firstly, thank you for joining us here at the RYA Suzuki Dinghy Show. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having us.
For those who may not know you, could you tell us a bit about who you are, what you sail, and your roles in the boat?
So we are Team 321, is how we brand ourselves, and I'm Eilidh McIntyre, Sophie, and we sail a 470, and Sophie helms, and I crew, and we're part of the British Sailing Team.
And you've been sailing together for how long, roughly?
We've been sailing together since January 2013, so just over 2 years now.
Okay, fantastic. And obviously sailing is now a big part of your lives, but we do all start somewhere. When and where did you both first start sailing?
My sailing career started in Leamington at a small sort of saltwater reservoir called the Salton Sailing Club.
Oh, we know, close to Harken.
Close to Harken,
yeah.
So just pottering around in the boats there with parents and friends, and then progressed up through the RYA system.
Okay. And Eilidh?
I've sort of just sailed my whole life. I come from a sailing family, and I grew up on hailing and around the club, and I just have sailed. I can't remember a time when I haven't sailed. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, what made you choose to go down the sailing route over other sports that you could have chosen? You're obviously both very athletic. Why sailing?
I think we both grew up by the sea, and well, we did both grow up by the sea, and I think it massively influences your interests and how you spend your time. And yeah, we're both from sailing families. They
kind of just influence
your
from an early age.
Yeah.
Is that the same for you, or?
For me, I for as long as I can remember, I always wanted to go to Olympic Games, and at first I was convinced I was going to go running, and that's where I was going to do it. But I just had this passion for sailing, and it's unlike any other sport, and it's so fluid and tactical, and you use your brain and your body all at the same time, and that's what's really amazing about it.
Fantastic. So very good reasons for getting into sailing there. But last year you experienced a bit of a setback with Sophie's injury, leading to a bit of time off the water for you, and Eilidh, you were temporarily training with someone else. What effect did that have on your training, and what did you learn from it in the end?
It had a massive impact on our sailing. You kind of don't really plan for things like that, and you don't expect it to happen to you. So managing how you're going to deal with the time is difficult. It was great that Eilidh got the chance to sail someone else and keep her time in the boat. For me, it was difficult, and I wasn't able to do very much at all, because I quite like being busy and being active.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a kick in the teeth.
Frustrating.
Yeah, just sat around. But there was plenty of support around the team, and people kind of keep you motivated. And it gave us time to work on things that we'd usually put to one side in our campaign.
Okay.
Like about our personal team and how we work together and with our coach. And
that's maybe the more technical side of things, that when you're training you don't have time to think about.
And learning more about our kit and why we pick certain things. So
useful then?
Yeah, really
useful. And how was it for you, Eilidh?
For me, I found it really difficult as well. It's hard. Really hard going to the Wilds without Soph, and we totally cancelled the trip, and then a week before we had to rebook the trip, and I was going, and it was quite hard to get my head around that. I was going to Wales, but I was doing Christina Bastonian, and I was quite nervous, didn't really know what to expect, and
so you didn't have your teammate either,
yeah, exactly.
So you're kind of missing that comfort.
And also we're so set in our roles and how we work together and the things we do, that it's when you then go and sail with someone else, you break those routines. But sailing with Christina was fantastic, and she's so experienced, and I learnt so much about me and the way I sail, and that was, and the way Sophie sails, and the things I missed, and then things that I learned from Christina, and everything, it all just came together quite nicely afterwards, and sat down and had a good debrief, Sophie and I, and took all the lessons we could from it.
Another learning experience then, from different angles, so benefits in the end.
Yeah.
So you've been sponsored by Harken for some time now. What made you choose Harken?
Harken's such a reliable product. We never have any issues, and it's strong, and they don't break, and they're easy to use, and know, the polish is fantastic. You don't see anyone use any other polish than Harken polish. And and so that's why it's just the best thing to have.
Okay, fantastic. So choosing hardware and regimes for maintaining it must be as individual as each boat and sailor. And on that note, do you have any tips for maintaining your hardware and keeping it in race condition?
So we usually try and pick the correct blocks for the load that the control's going to take, or the block needs to take, and we try and keep our blocks at minimum weight, so we keep the weight of the boat down where possible, and just something that runs well and will take the load.
Okay, fantastic. And going back to where you guys are today, could you give us an idea of what it takes to be a part of the British sailing team?
It takes a lot to be a part of the team. It's something we've done sailing since we were kids, and you do it for fun and you grow up around it and you love it because it's such a fantastic sport, and then all of a sudden it becomes your job and everything you want in life. All your hopes are pinned on being as good as you can at sailing and getting to your dream, and have to become a professional rather than it just being fun. And it's a big transition, and
it goes from fun to work.
Yeah, and that's something which, even though we love our jobs, it's quite hard to make it professional at the same time, and that's where it really starts to get hard. And
work and play become kind of a blurred line. It's the same thing, really. But I suppose if you're loving what you do, then you can't really ask for much more than that.
We're so lucky to be able to race around the circuit. Really lucky.
I'm sure there's a lot of people who'd like to be in your shoes. And what's involved in your training regime and your diet? Is there anything specific there that you have to keep to be a part of the team?
So we have quite a big training routine. We try and get in the gym 6 days a week.
6 days a week?
Yeah. Okay. And then we've got sailing on top of that. Not every day, depending on what kind of phase we're in and how far out from our next regatta we are.
Right, okay.
So the season's quite spread out this year. So we'll have training phases and then competition phases. And in terms of our diet, it's just what gives us enough energy and help us recover quickly.
Okay. So it can be quite full on with the training then and the fitness to keep you at the level that I presume you need to be at.
And it is something we personally struggle at, is making sure that we are maintaining our energy levels when we're out on the water and when we're in the gym, because it's such a, you forget that you're working hard when you're on the water because you're just so involved in going fast and making the boat feel good, and it's such an important thing. You can't sail well if you're not fueled and hydrated.
You haven't got the right amount of energy. And what is it, what advice do you have for future aspiring Olympic hopefuls who would like to be where you are today? What would you say to them?
Just enjoy it and love it, and go out as often as you can and work as hard as you can, and as Charles, like, as you move into teens, start getting involved in fitness, because it's so key when you get to our level, especially as a girl. The fitter we are, the better we're going to be around the course. So that's something I would, my biggest top tip.
Be fit from an early age and don't forget to enjoy it. I think that's good advice.
And remember the goal, like step back and remember why you're doing it. Just doing it because you love the sport and you love to race, and make sure that you keep that at the forefront of your mind when you get bogged down in non-fun jobs.
When you need the motivation, remember that. Well, that's fantastic. Well, that's all the questions I have for you today, but thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure to have you guys as part of the team, and I know you're busy with training, so best of luck from everyone.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you.